Hello and welcome to the Kidney Bean. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Samantha. Hello.
So make sure to like and follow us wherever you're listening to us. We are on all of the socials. They will be listed below. And how are you doing, Sam?
I'm all right.
Gosh, your lip gloss looks so good.
Oh, thanks. It's that Mary Kay. I don't know what color. Gold lip gloss.
Gold.
Yeah.
It doesn't look gold. It just looks super shiny.
Oh, thanks. I always forget to put it on, but
I guess I'm in my emo phase with mine. Mine's like what, dark purple. If you're listening to us on Spotify,
it's a plum wine.
Wine-ish.
Color.
It's from the what's that Hocus Pocus collection from ColourPop.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
You remember that movie? That movie was so great.
Yeah, they have a second one.
Did you see it?
No, it hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
I don't
well,
think
that makes sense.
It's about to come out.
That makes sense because I was like, oh my gosh, how did that come out? I didn't know.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite actors is in that movie. He plays like the zombie guy. Who remember the guy that gets that has things on his mouth and he comes out of the grave?
Yeah.
So that's Doug Jones, right? No, let me tell you, Doug Jones is like the most famous person that you don't know what he looks like because he's so thin and tall, and they said that he likes to sit for prosthetics and stuff. I follow him on Facebook. He seems like a really awesome guy. And he's in a lot of science fiction stuff, so you're probably not even going to know but like he was in Hellboy, he was in
But what is sitting for prosthetics? What do you mean by that?
So like the, to make them look like monsters or aliens.
Oh, he likes to sit and get the makeup done. Okay.
Yeah, the makeup. And he's in the new Discovery, the new Star Trek Discovery. It's he's Suru, Mr. Suru.
No idea.
I know, but I love him so much. He's so awesome.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of cool because I'm like, oh, that's Doug Jones. I know that voice. I know his body type, and then like I know what he looks like. But I just think it's so cool because I'll be like, oh, that's Doug Jones. He's like in everything. He's literally in everything.
I really like that too. Seeing like, oh, this person is from this and this person, and I like when they do little cameos that give like a nod to what they're from. Like they did that a lot in The Sopranos. From like the Goodfellas movie. Speaking of,
I've never seen all of The Sopranos.
Well, Tony Sirico passed away, and that was yesterday. He played Polly Walnut's Uncle Polly on The Sopranos.
Polly Walnuts?
Yeah, it's just a nickname. But
why is it? No, tell me why.
They don't ever say why. Damn it. They don't ever say why. But he's Uncle Polly, and I guess he was 80 years old. So, well, close to like 78.
I went and saw the new Thor movie, and it is awesome. And I know I already said it before the podcast.
Oh, no, that's fine.
It was so awesome. There was like 6 of us. We went to the Alamo with the reclining chairs.
That's nice.
And, we had to take 2 cars.
So who all went besides you?
So it was me and Sean, Emma, and Anya. But Sean's cousin, Josh, wanted to go. I went and picked him up, and then Emma's friend, Riley, wanted to go. So Sean, we kind of like divided and conquered.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Did Anya do well during that movie?
She did. So one thing that I learned about her is that she can't sit still. Mm-hmm. And so she said one thing that helps her, and I thought she was just being sweet, but she was holding my hand and like kind of with her thumb doing like this.
Yeah.
Like kind of not massaging it, but just, like moving it because she has to move. And she told me that helps her sit still. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, well, if you would have told me that, then we can always do that because she's just always over there like a Mexican jumping bean, like all over the seat, like just always moving and shifting. Yeah. But when she was doing that, she was able to stay still. And she watched it and didn't get bored.
That's good.
But it's the same director that did Ragnarok, so it's, I love your blank stares. And I don't want to mess up his name because it's not the easiest to pronounce. And we were just talking about how I am absolutely horrible with names, which is why you always get to pronounce the names.
Oh, yeah.
On like the Bean Post. So do we have a Bean Post?
Yeah, our Bean Post, speaking of names to pronounce, DeAndrea, she said I said it right, so we're good with that. DeAndrea Freeman is from Memphis, and she had a kidney transplant on July 8th.
Oh, wow.
She said all that she knew about the donor was that he's a middle-aged man, deceased donor. He was brain dead, and she wants to first and foremost thank him for being an organ donor and thank God for giving me this gift. So I actually just talked to her. I feel bad for reaching out so early when it was just a few days ago that she had it. But she was posting on Facebook, and I had seen her on the I Hate Dialysis page. That one is run by Carol Franks. I think I'll probably get into talking about her on another episode, and we might have her as a guest if she wants. But
well, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to DeAndrea Freeman from Memphis, and good luck with everything. I hope it works out for you.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll keep in touch.
We need to do like a little thing where we get up with all the people that we've had and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
But I like what she said is to thank you for being a donor. So for everybody out there, just always make sure people know what you want, because you never know. And you want people to be 100% sure about what you want if and when you do pass. I think it's important to communicate that.
That actually brings up a good point, that every single time, and I'm sure all dialysis patients, everywhere go through this. Every single time I go through a surgery, or even just being admitted in the hospital for something, they ask if I have a living will or power of attorney. And I don't. I was going to have Heather, our oldest sister, as a power of attorney back when I was on dialysis, way back when. But we filled out the paperwork and then just never had it, registered or notarized or however they do it. I'm not really sure. But I kind of don't see myself getting in any position where people will be fighting over anything, about what to do with me.
Yeah, but I think the thing is it's important to let people know, do you want to be buried? Do you want to be
That's
cremated?
why I just want to tell you everything, because I know that, but then you think about, and you don't want to think about this, but what if that one person you told isn't there, or whatever,
Right. And so that's why it's kind of a good thing maybe to tell a few people.
Right.
I don't know, because I don't know, I feel like when I think about it, it's it's very macabre, but
yes.
But what's worse is passing suddenly and everybody's like, I don't know what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. And everything we've said has been like a segue into something else, because I have been thinking about this more lately. Slim's father passed away on Wednesday. And so may his soul rest in peace. And they have been, praying and going to the mosque. And
you're heading up there after this.
Yeah, I'm going to go to his aunt's house. But so he immediately was like, I got to go to Gambia. And that's what you would think. And everybody was like, okay, yeah, he's going to go, and he's looking for a ticket, and so expensive, and the airports
the airlines now are crazy.
And so he realized that even if he hopped on the flight at that minute, he wouldn't make it for the burial. And I was like, they wouldn't wait, and I got kind of upset at first, and then I realized, culturally, religiously.
Even practically, though.
Practically, exactly.
Because we're so used to, we can almost do it anytime in America because of our refrigeration systems and our institutions. We can do that. So we're a little bit privileged.
Yes.
And when Mom said that, Mom said that in the text message, which was about
Mexico.
Yeah, they do in Mexico. They have to do it within 24 hours because they don't have the proper refrigeration. We're so spoiled that we didn't even realize that was an issue. So it makes sense now. So
right, and so he would have missed the burial because it would have taken him 36 hours to get there, and they want to do it within 24 hours. And his father was so religious, and I think that's one of the things that he would have definitely wanted to be buried within 24 hours. And he would understand that his son wants to be there but physically can't be. So that was a big deal for him, and he was pretty upset about that. But I've really felt very close to them over the past couple of days. His family, they're just so family oriented, and the togetherness has just made me feel really good, and honestly really blessed, because they just pray so much, and they just all seem so close to God that it's just, and I don't want to get religious because I'm trying not to do that on this podcast. But
well, have people been bringing them food?
No. Not necessarily food, they just come over. I think today, because today is a holiday for them, it's Tabaski, it's Eid. So today they're going to have a lot of food, and people bring food and they'll eat a lot. But, that, I guess yesterday being the Friday before Eid, that was a very holy day for them as well. So his father passing was kind of almost timely, because they were coming together anyway for this weekend. And
he had been sick for a while.
He had been. He had his foot amputated recently, I think less than a month ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. And, he had an infection that I think was just out of control. But I think Slim is at peace with it, and it feels like it was his time. And he got to see him before he passed. He went there a couple months ago. So he'll be going back. He'll be going back. They do a prayer 40 days after the person passes. So it's like a 40-day, 40-night thing. So he'll be going there in August to be with his family. And,
oh, okay. Well, that's cool. So you said 36 hours to get there?
yeah, because he would have had to have a layover, I think, somewhere. I can't remember.
So usually he has to go through, he goes through Heathrow, usually, right?
Brussels.
Oh, Brussels.
Yeah, I don't know if there's other ways, I'm sure, but
yeah.
He goes through Brussels usually. I think they were looking at every possibility, going to New York and then going to London and
then the flights are getting canceled.
Yes.
So that makes it even like
they're booking these flights without having the staff. And for whatever reason, to make the money or whatever, and I guess they hope that they'll get the flight or hope that people won't refund their money.
Well, I know they're paying pilots like 3 times their salary if they go work on their day off, but that makes me kind of a little anxious because like that's a stressful job, and if you're not getting your days off or your rest, like that kind of makes me, because I'm such an awesome flyer anyway.
Right.
Not really.
Right. Yeah.
I have to call my psychiatrist and I'm like, I'm going to fly, and I'm so scared about it. Like the last time we flew was last year to Cleveland, and this year we have to go to Philly, which is about a 6-hour drive, and we just decided we're going to drive because...
You don't have to go to Philly. You want to go to Philly.
I bought tickets 3 years ago for the Rammstein concert. It was originally going to be in Washington, D.C. That was going to be the closest. And
it's
then
a German heavy metal group, by the way.
Maybe look them up, maybe don't. I don't know. They're not safe for work all the time. I don't know. They're German. They're Europeans. So... I bought it 3 years ago. It was originally going to be in Washington, D.C. And then when because of COVID, it got moved to the following year. They didn't redo it in Washington. I guess they couldn't get the contract to work out. So the next closest was Philly, and it's going to be at the Lincoln Financial Stadium where the Eagles play. Oh, if the gift shop's open, maybe I can get Slim something from the Eagles shop. But I don't think it'll be open because I think they're just using it as a...
Well, I'm sure you can find Eagles stuff there if that's what you want.
Oh, yeah.
But I see what you're saying from the stadium.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it would be cool to get something, but it's not a gaming event, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, if they were smart, they would keep it open.
But it's going to be lots of fire. Lots of fire. Oh, my gosh, there's so much fire.
You're excited.
Oh, yeah. But I'm not, like, I had to pick seats kind of far away because I'm old. And I'm like, I don't want to be in the fire zone. Like, I'm cool with not, like, dying from heat because I'm already a hot person. Like, I'm already a person who keeps my house at, like, really low temperatures. And everybody that comes over is like, I need a blanket.
I know.
You can see your breath.
I wear my socks and my sweater over there and a blanket.
Yeah, you could see your breath at my house. And I'm like, what? It's hot.
So your next segue that you just had was the having anxiety about the plane.
Yes.
We can talk about mental health a little bit if you'd like.
Yes. So I've had kind of anxiety and depression probably my whole life. It's gone undiagnosed because like 20 years ago or even more, the insurance has gotten a little bit better about covering things that like people you would need to see to be put on prescriptions. And so initially, I think my general practitioner prescribed me probably I think it was Zoloft, and I took that for many years, but it worked okay. It wasn't that great, but that's kind of why I feel like you need a psychiatrist because they know what side effects to look for, and it's not that the medicine doesn't work, it's just, is it the best medicine for you? Because is it working, or is there maybe something better that could work? So I've been seeing my psychiatrist now for I think like almost 8 years, I want to say, because I was seeing her before I was with Sean, and I've been with Sean 7.5 years at this point, so I've been seeing her for a long time, and I really like her. Like, she's out of Florida now, so we just kind of FaceTime, but she knows me pretty well, so like I feel like...
Yeah, that's good that you like who you have. I mean, it's also a big deal to find a therapist and a psychiatrist, or whichever one or both that you're seeing that you do well with, that serves you well in what you need at that time.
So as far as therapy, insurances still are not the greatest at covering any type of therapy. No. Usually you'll either have to go income based, or so you really don't get, unless you can find a way for your insurance to cover it. You usually don't get to go see the therapist as often, but the psychiatrist is usually covered. They more or less monitor the medications you're taking. So,
So I will give a piece of advice, which I don't normally like to do because I don't want to generalize, but for especially dialysis patients, I guess I have to say who are American citizens.
Because not the healthcare system everywhere else is a little bit better than ours.
Yes, but also if you're not an American citizen, you don't have the privilege of what I actually skipped over a part about at Slim's house or Slim's aunt's house. If you're not an American citizen, you don't have the privilege of having Medicaid and Medicare automatically, like I do.
Oh.
And so
if you have kidney failure and you're not an American citizen, you don't necessarily qualify for those benefits.
Right. There's certain things that you do get that you have to just, deal with, where you might get Medicare for a time, and then whatever Medicare doesn't pick up, you maybe can get a secondary insurance, but you're paying for that out of pocket.
Because people always say, like, the argument is that taxes are being spent on immigration and they're getting insurance, but that's not accurate at all because they don't qualify. Right.
Certain things they do get certain things, but it comes, with just such a cost of the other struggles.
And also timelines. It's not like...
Right.
If you're an American citizen and you get put on dialysis, you automatically qualify for... Medicare. Now, it takes like 6 months usually, right? Or something like that?
Sometimes. I mean, I think the first time I had it was like pushed through because I just happened to work with somebody who worked in that field. I didn't even know that they helped me, but I don't really know exactly what the ins and outs were. It was so long ago. But you do qualify for Medicare. And, if it takes 6 months to get it, it's retroactive. Right. So this time around, I think what happened was they saw that I had a kidney transplant, and because I was doing home dialysis, there was some box that was checked or flipped the page over or whatever. They didn't see that I was on dialysis again, so it took so long.
Oh, because I remember this time around, it was awful.
What's going on? And then, but what my advice is that now I have Medicaid and adult disabled Medicare, NC Medicaid, so it's state by state for Medicaid, but I have the best insurance right now. I can see a therapist, and not pay, or I think if I do, it's like $20. I can get my dental work done, and I can get these, go to places that take Medicaid.
Right.
It might be a little bit longer wait. It might be what people wouldn't consider top tier, care, but because I go to like Night and Day Dental and stuff like that, but I don't have to pay for it. And so I really have been trying to keep all that, and plus being on the transplant list, they want you to, have everything looked at and checked over, regularly. So my advice is, while we have the Medicare and the Medicaid, get all this stuff done. Take care of your teeth. Always take care of your teeth and your mental health. But, while you don't have to pay for it, really get the best, or, get all the care you can. But the therapist thing, I'm still in limbo of, I haven't even really done the work I need to do to look for a new therapist. So I need to do that, and I started to again last week. But I really believe that everyone could benefit from having a therapist, and I really wish that it was something that we didn't have to worry about the cost.
Yeah.
That's, because I did worry about it before, and I never had a therapist really until I was on dialysis. And that was pretty cool, she'd come to the house and all that stuff. I just think I need a little bit more intensive, basically we would just kind of talk, and it was almost like having a friend come over. I love her, she's great, but I need a little bit more intense,
Right.
Somebody to basically call me on my crap and, tell me this is what you need to do.
Finding the right therapist is important too. Not necessarily the first person you go to is going to be the right fit for you.
Exactly.
So,
that's what I was saying.
And poor Anya. So Anya had a therapist, and he was absolutely wonderful, but he passed. And we have a new therapist, and she's good, but now we're running into the problem where insurance doesn't want to pay for it after the end of this month. Wow. So now, Anya was so upset because she was like, well, I really like this new therapist. I don't want to have to find another one again. So I don't know what we're going to do because, sometimes when things get like that, I get so frustrated. I'm like, I don't know where even to begin with dealing with this.
Right.
I can call the insurance and see what I can do, or see if they can refer her to another one. But I'm just like, what good is all this therapy doing if it's not with the same therapist? Because Like, that's the whole point, is to get to know somebody and work on the skills that they know that you need help with.
And I know people are probably saying, isn't Anya your 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old daughter?
So, yes,
so
Anya, okay. So, yeah, let's talk about Anya, because she's super interesting. So, it started out, the first issue we had with Anya was when she was about 9 months old. She kept having the ear infections. And so what would happen was she kind of waddled around like a drunk person and couldn't walk.
Yeah, she couldn't walk.
And so when we had taken her to the doctor, they're like, oh, well, see, she keeps having ear infections. We might have to get ear tubes. So we did the ear tubes, and she started walking just fine. And then the following year, because the ear tubes last a year, and then they fall out on their own. The following year, Anya still had trouble speaking. So they were like, okay, well, let's test her hearing. And they had found that she heard things as if it was underwater. So, like, if you ever put your head under the water and try to speak, that's how she was hearing things. So she was already kind of had a delay in that aspect because she couldn't hear properly. So we got her second set of ear tubes. That's the last set. But ever since then, she's had really good hearing. And then she went, while she was at daycare, they were like, I think, her speech is a little bit behind, probably because of the ear tubes. So she started seeing a speech therapist when she was 3. And I think I always kind of noticed that Anya was a little bit different. But I was the child that was different. So I was just like, okay, well, anytime a teacher's like...
children who are different these days. So.
Well...
So it's like they're all the same.
There is no normal.
Yeah, right.
Well, so then about 4 years old, I relied a lot on her daycare teachers that said, she should be doing this, but this
Shout
is
out
what
to
she's
Kidsville.
doing. Yeah,
And
Kidsville.
Andrew. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome
Vicky
because they always were
Jen.
like, and I never, like, I'm a person that I know if you're a teacher, your job is insanely hard, especially like daycare teachers, like Sheila, Sean's mom. Yeah. Oh my goodness. She's been there like 20 years. I'm like, how do you do it? Because if I go
Has
there
Tammy
and I'm
been there that long?
Yeah, they both have been that long. Tammy is Sheila's sister. In-law. But Tammy is Sheila's husband's sister. And Tammy's husband, Eddie,
is going to be too confusing for people.
Sheila's brother. So there's brother and sisters that married each other's brother and sister.
Right.
So it sounds funny, but it's totally, completely legit.
Yeah.
Which makes Sean and Chris like the very closest possible cousins to Tiffany, because they're all from the same gene pool, but it's not bad. I think what happened was Tammy and Sheila had been friends since high school, and probably Tammy had a crush on Robbie, because I guess like back in the day he was like a lady killer.
Tammy didn't have a crush on Robbie.
That's her brother. Oh my gosh. So Tammy had a crush on Eddie, who is Sheila's brother. Yeah. And Sheila ended up marrying Tammy's brother, Robbie. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's gonna be so mad at me when he sees this. He's gonna be like,
now you're making it sound too close.
No, it's not, but it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's cool because like
it's small town love. It's cute.
It is super, and back when, and that's a good point because they've grown up in this area, and so like it. I mean, now Johnston County is humongous, but back in the day when they were living here, it was like everybody kind of knew everyone kind of thing because. If you see anyone that is around their age that had lived here their whole life, if you say, "Oh, Robbie Creech," they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember he was so handsome in school." Like apparently, all the Creech boys were like, and Tammy was like the gorgeous girl. Like, so there's four brothers and one sister on the Creech side, and then Anne and Sheila and Eddie are Juanita's kids. Yeah. Juanita is Sheila's brother. Okay. Because so that's Sean's grandmother, great grandmother. But anyway, like we're going on. I don't even remember. Oh my goodness. What was I even talking about?
So it was It was about Anya and
Yeah, okay, so at 4 years old,
yeah.
I depended on the teachers. That's where it went
Yeah.
wrong. That's where I went rogue. And I'm so good at staying on topic, but just now I went rogue.
Like I
pulled
do.
with Samantha and went on a strange tangent,
That's
which
all right.
I try hard not to do. And they're all going to be like, you didn't get our names right or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
That's all right.
I know. Okay.
They got a shout out. That's cool.
So when Anya was 4, they noticed that she could possibly have ADHD. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we were looking into that, and you were so scared because you were like, they're just going to give her medications. And I was like, well,
I didn't want that.
Yeah, you didn't want that. But the thing is like, I'm on the opposite end because I knew for a long time I needed medication and I never had an access to it. Like, I mean, since probably I should have been on it a lot, like a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
But it was the 80s.
Yeah, so like I thought, well, worst thing, we try it, it's awful, we take her off of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's going to have a psychiatrist monitoring it every 3 months. That's the thing about any type of psychiatric care. Like, every 3 months, you're checking in to make sure things haven't changed, to make sure things are still working properly. So we did try a low dose of something, and that worked okay for a while. But then that psychiatrist, or she wasn't a psychiatrist, but she was not local. And we were going to have to go do a visit there.
In Wilmington?
In Wilmington. So we found a psychologist that's local so that she could, you know, I kind of wanted someone in the area anyway. But so now she sees someone that's in the area. And we were just getting prescriptions for ADHD for a long time. But in the past year, she's been having problems at school. She is smart. Like, she doesn't have problems academically. She has problems like socially or changes in schedule or not feeling like things are fair. So she started to get like where it was kind of getting a little bit rough. Like, she became this shusher. Like, if she was trying to focus and people were even tapping their foot, she'd go shh, 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 aggressively, like shh.
But she doesn't like when people shush her.
Right. So she was doing that, and so they were making fun of her for that. And she said, Mom, I wanted to hurt him, and I knew I couldn't, so I kept hitting my head on the desk.
Aww.
And she did that a couple times, and the teacher called me and said that had happened. And I remember thinking, like, oh my goodness,
Sorry, shout out to Miss Herndon too. Because
oh, Miss Herndon at Westview, if you listen, we love you. Yeah. So every time I saw her number, I was like, oh no, you know, because I was just like, I know it's rough, and every time I'm like, you know, they're so proactive. They're like, let's get the IEP people in here, which IEP in North Carolina is Individualized Educational Plan. It's so Anya has one for her social issues. So we were like, let's get a meeting. They're so proactive over there. That's why. So we were trying to be proactive, and at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, make sure to mention this to the psychiatrist because the behavior is becoming, you know, super erratic. She got suspended for a day because she pushed a boy down because he was making fun of her for being the shusher.
Right. In school suspension, right?
Yeah, well, so they called me and they said, well, because she has extenuating circumstances, we could give her 10-day suspension, but what we're going to do is just do in-school suspension, and she'll just do it here. And then it happened to be on a Thursday, so they said, she'll do it tomorrow and then have the weekend and then come back. So they've been really understanding, and Anya's really good about if she does something wrong, she will acknowledge she did something wrong, and she will really apologize and be sincerely sorry for it. So I took all this information to the doctor, and he said he wanted to do a psychological evaluation on her because he wanted to see if she had autism. And because of another thing is about Anya is that she is obsessed with ants. Like, and I mean, when I say obsessed, like, she's constantly teaching us about ants. Like, she knows about them. Anytime she sees them, she follows them back to their nest. She said, I saw some queens with some wings, which means, you know, that nuptial flight season is probably coming. She said, because if they didn't have their wings, that would mean they had already mated and tore off their wings. So they all mate in the air. I don't know, it's this big, long process. So they all mate in the air, and then the guys die because Anya said they're no longer needed. They serve no purpose after mating. And then the queens go to the ground and they rip off their wings because they don't need to fly again. Because they made once and they got enough to start a colony. So we're looking for a queen that has made it to start her own colony. We have the stuff we bought from shout out to Ants Canada, because she gets like 90% of her information from Ants Canada. They're really great.
Yeah, she sends me stuff like links and stuff.
Does she? Yeah. I send her pictures like because she's so interested in insects. I like this Facebook page, Entomology, because it's like memes of entomology.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but anyway, he was like, well, with her having that really focused, knowledgeable area, like where she knows everything about it, and then because one thing is, and this is something I told someone yesterday, I said, Anya's going to be 10 and she can't tie her shoes.
Oh, wow.
But she can tell you everything about ants. So we're going to try and work on tying her shoes. And you wouldn't know.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
You wouldn't know that she doesn't know, because if you meet her, so we did do the psychological evaluation, and it did, she has autism. She's on the spectrum. I guess it's probably, this is where it gets kind of cloudy, and this is where I need more education myself. They said high functioning, so probably more like AS, which is formerly Asperger's, which they don't call Asperger's anymore because they should have never called it Asperger's. First of all, it sounds awful. Second of all,
it's somebody's last name, though.
First of all, it's after a Nazi doctor.
Oh, okay.
And second of all, it's awful sounding.
It sounds like butt burgers.
Yeah, look, South Park did a whole episode about it.
I'm sure.
If you like that kind of thing, because you know me, I'm not really I like really raunchy stuff. I've loved South Park since. I will say this though, I've loved South Park since we first moved to North Carolina, which we've been here since '97. And I remember I saved up some money. I bought they had a camouflage wallet at probably Spencer's.
I remember that with a chain on it.
It had a chain, but it was camouflage, and it had the 4 of them on the front, and it was a trifold, whatever. And so I had that. Point is, me and my tangents today, jeez.
You're like me?
Yeah, I feel a little bit, yeah. I get it now. I get it. Just you keep me focused. So we did the psychological evaluation. It came back she has autism, and this is fairly new, and so new that it's just been a few months since I found out. So the school hasn't really set up a plan because it's summer for her, but we did just get a firm diagnosis, and then they put her on a mood stabilizer, and we sent her to school, and I finally got a phone call from Miss Herndon where it was like, she's just like she was the first day she walked in. She's
Anya.
Happy, because Anya, it's so weird because Anya has social issues, but she also has the biggest heart of anybody I know. She always wins in kindergarten. She won the Sweet Tart Award, and then and I think Kristen's daughter won it too.
She did.
Yeah, because I was like, Anya won that, but I don't like raining on people's parades. So I didn't post that.
Yeah, I think I thought the same thing too, but I did put that connection together.
And then
Addie,
this past one, she won biggest heart.
Oh.
So it's funny because those teachers don't.
Well, and that's why they thought that she wasn't on the spectrum years ago, because her compassion
at 7
and
they
her
did do
empathy.
Yeah, so at 7 they did do a psychological evaluation in the school, and they said that they didn't believe that she had it because she was too empathetic. And 2 years later, when I was talking to the psychiatrist, I said they did it. They said that she doesn't have it. And he says, yeah, but let's go ahead and send this out and get the psychiatrist, or no, I'm sorry, psychologist that he was referring us to that was a little more in depth. And when I had talked to them, they said, well, the school psychologists are really hesitant to officially diagnose things sometimes.
What did we just learn on Love on the Spectrum is that girls sometimes will have the empathy factor.
Right, and that's the thing that makes it difficult is a lot of girls will get diagnosed a little bit later than boys because they tend to be empathetic.
Or a lot later, like some people were in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah, and one thing we did, she's so funny, we watched people successful AS people, and I did not know Anthony Hopkins had AS, and he didn't find out until the last couple years. So he's an old man finding out.
Right.
And then of course Elon Musk, and I can't remember the other people, but it was just good for her to see people that she could relate to, that they can, you know, because they're going to, I think both the girls are going to be super successful. Like Emma just told us the other day that she is thinking about becoming a pediatrician because Emma is really, really good with small children. And so like, she's really good at helping them. So, you know, I think because I said always she was going to be a lawyer because she just would argue with everybody about everything. Always. Everything. You could say, that shirt is green. No, it's not green, it's moss. Yeah. Like, I mean, just something simple like that. She's and it's not, no. Yeah, I don't think she means on purpose to be like that. It's just how she is. Yeah. She's gotten better with it now, and she's super patient. And ever since she found out that Anya has
That's what I was going to say.
Autism,
she's good with her.
Yeah, so Anya, it's difficult for Anya to go places that are super busy. It's too overstimulating.
Same.
Yeah, no, totally same. But Emma's really good at being in large groups of people, and so she kind of made sure to keep Anya, like, she, you know.
She's always been good with her, though, even, you know, even when they were little. Like, I mean, she would, you know, have that sibling, like, Anya. I remember she'd always go, Anya, Anya. And I would always just mock her. But I think also, you know, blending a family, that's difficult. And
you know what's so funny? We were just talking about that because so I've been in Emma's life since she's 4 and she's going to be 12 this year, and Anya's been in Sean's life since she was 2. So pretty much they don't remember anything before the situation which we have now, which is, you know, where we co-parent with Emma, and then of course, you know, Chris passed away, so there's no one to co-parent with on my side, but which, you know, we have a really good situation where Lori's a really nice person, and we all kind of get along for the most part.
Right.
So, you know, I was just it's been kind of the best of a...
It has been. I was just thinking about when Sean first came over, and I was like, we weren't going to have guys over, and I was like so upset when he was still there the next day, and he like helped us when the washer flooded and all that stuff.
Yes, so the washer flooded, I called him, and he
was already there.
No, he had left to go to work, and I called him, and I was like, "Can you please go get?"
He bought a mop.
A mop, because we didn't have a mop. We had we hadn't been living there long at all.
But he came and he had bought like underwear for Anya, and I was
because I was like,
how did he know what to get? And I didn't know he had a daughter.
Yeah, he had a daughter, because I was like, oh my gosh. Like, something happened where, I don't know why I needed underwear for Anya, but he was like...
the laundry. Like, we were going to do the laundry. We were doing the laundry. It was all...
We couldn't do the laundry, and she didn't have any underwear to wear. That's right.
We had to take her
because I was like, that's weird to ask, like, someone you just met, hey, pick up some underwear for my daughter.
But it was even, not weirder in, like, a creepy way, but I was like, how did this guy know, like, what kind of underwear to get for a little girl? I wasn't thinking about it like that.
Sean is a very hands-on
very
dad. So, like, he is not one to say, oh, I'm not going to buy this, or I'm not going to buy that. Like, he's more than comfortable doing things that, like, some other guys might not be comfortable doing.
Yeah, they can tell him anything, and you know.
Yeah, he doesn't get like,
come to him with anything.
Like, don't talk to me about that. Like, he's not that kind of guy. He's just like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, he's very okay. Well, whatever. I think with him, he's like, okay, so A, B, and C need to be done. I'm doing A, B, and C. Like, it's not. He doesn't have a thought about it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's so really Anyway, but so now we're good now as far as where Anya is on her medications, and myself, like, I've been on the same medication. I'm not going to say what Anya's on, but I'll say what I'm on, because I feel like it's really super stigmatized. They had me on Trintellix, which was a newer drug initially, and I took that for like about 5 years, and then it just kind of didn't really work that much, so she gave me Wellbutrin to add to it. That worked for a little while, and then eventually I was like, I don't know if this is working like it should. And she was like, well, I'm kind of thinking like an oldie but a goodie is Prozac. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll try it. And I've been on Prozac probably for about 4 years now, and I stopped needing the Wellbutrin, and it's what works for me. But I was watching, there's a so you know Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay. So there's this one that he visits, and the chef's name is David Blaine, but he's not like David Blaine. But I just remember his name was David Blaine because they're like, not that one. But he tells the owner, like, you put Prozac in your coffee, or go take some Prozac or something. And I feel like it's so stigmatized that people are like, it's getting better. Because it really is getting better, where it's not such a stigma. But even me, when she was like recommending that, I'm like, because your head, like, especially if you're older, goes to, isn't that kind of crazy pills? But it's not really like, there's no crazy pills. There's just pills and drugs that help you.
Yeah. Like, on My Favorite Murder, one of their things, because they talk about mental health a lot, and people write in all the time and thank them for addressing mental health and for supporting people who need to, take care of their mental health, and just like any other health concerns that you have. And one of the things that Georgia, I guess somebody had said it and she kind of just repeated it. She said, if your brain isn't making serotonin, store-bought is fine. And so, and that goes for any kind of thing.
How about we are so advanced that we can even identify what the problems are, and we have the tools. Because here's my thought process on it is, initially I was like nervous because I was like, I don't want it to change who I am. And I think that was what you were afraid of about Anya.
I didn't want her to be this medicated zombie.
Right.
Yeah, at 5 years old.
So the thing about people that truly have ADHD is it, like, if once they get put on medication for it, they actually just become more of themselves, if that makes sense. Like, balance. They don't lose their...
It's balance.
Yeah. So for me, I was nervous because I didn't want to be a zombie. But then you have to think there's so many different ways to treat so many different things. And that's why it's important to go to someone that really knows that and knows which ones work for, which things, and which ones has which ones have what side effects, and because not everything's going to ever work the same for anybody. Like, it's always going to be on a spectrum, and it's always going to be different, and that's why they monitor it like every 3 months, like anytime you're on anything. I've seen mine. So, but if you think about it like this, you think, okay, every 3 months, that's 4 times a year.
Right.
That's not like...
If you're going to your regular doctor every 6 months or every, whatever, for a physical checkup, I don't know why we have such a disconnect between, like, also taking care of what matters up here. Because in order to go to work every day and to function every day, or do, just, like, deal with anything that you deal with every day, or with people or anything like that, you really need to make sure that you're okay also in your head, just like you do, like if you wake up and your ankle hurts and you take care of it.
That's funny you said that, because the original, so when Chris passed, I did go see a therapist, and I was getting prescriptions for my general doctor, and she says, you should really think about, going and seeing a psychiatrist. Like, you wouldn't go to the general doctor if you broke your ankle, like you would go to a specialist. So she said, and she sent me to one, and I've been with that same lady forever. But, therapy, I went like 6 or 8 times, and then I, because I had to pay for it. So I stopped going to that, but I have been in a place where I haven't felt like I needed like actual therapy. I feel like the way things are now, I'm, if I need it again, I'll go get it and figure out how to pay for it. But I'm in a good place right now, I think, kind of emotionally and mentally. But I think back to when I was working at Kroger and how I, like, hated life. Because I was like, oh, I didn't have to hate life that much.
Right.
Because I was mean. Like, if you knew me from the Garner store, you're probably like, that one is...
Yeah.
No, she's not nice.
You hated everybody.
I hated everyone because people were mean. And Tom Segura said he was complaining about a baby in a theater. And he went and complained to the manager. And the manager said, people suck. He's like, that's the best customer service I've ever. People suck.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people suck. Do you like Tom Segura?
Yeah, I do.
I do love it. I've been like, I think, okay, so I don't like it quiet in the house. I just don't. Like, I know you love it. It's your shiznit, whatever.
Yeah.
Me, I need a little bit of noise, except for when I'm trying to sleep. I like it dark and quiet. But if I'm downstairs and Sean's working and it's late, and it's weird, Anya's sleeping, and I'm thinking, like, it's quiet, and I need to go do the dishes, I'll put on Spotify, and sometimes I listen to...
Your mom's house?
No, I listen to Trailer Park Boys. They have a podcast. But then I was like, I kept seeing Tom Segura stuff there, and so now I was putting on his
stand up
funny, while I'm doing dishes. So I'm in my kitchen like, ha, 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 ha.
Well, then you'll like your mom's house. I mean, there's so many episodes. Like, when I do podcasts, I listen to from number 1. I can't do that with theirs. They have like thousands. And then Christina P., his wife, you would like her.
Oh, that's the one with him? Yeah, because Sean just told me about it. He says, Tom Segura has a podcast, and I was like, and he's like, he has it with his wife.
I told you about this.
No, because I knew, that's why I had a ding, ding, ding moment, because you told me, I packed it away and stored it and was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. And then, like, when he said it, I was like, oh yeah, I have been, like, watching a lot of Tom Segura, because he's freaking hilarious.
His stand-ups are so funny.
And he says, sir, are you stabbing your baby? And he says, no. And he says, can you?
I feel like I feel like people who, so I'm gonna say your mom's house. They like review YouTube videos and like funny stuff on the internet most of the time.
I can't get enough of him.
And people kind of group them with like I think they think that they're racist because they make fun of people being racist.
Yeah.
So you will catch clips of them saying things, but they're really like making fun of people who are racist because his mom is Cuban, and I think
that's when I think his mom's not. She's not Cuban. She's from.
She's Hispanic. I probably
because I just watched it yesterday and I can't remember. But yeah, but this is a good point. Is that everything? Because we're so like, give me the shortest video possible. Mm-hmm. So we're watching everything out of context for the most part. Mm-hmm. That's why like people are like, it's just so crazy how short of our attention span we have gotten to, where like you're watching TikToks and it's like, this is taking 5 seconds and I'm done with it. Like,
or reading something that's too long.
This can't be good long term, right? To keep it, because like we've got to be able to focus.
Well, there's
a little
already
bit better.
A shift in how like, you know, teenagers are writing. They're completely skipping words and using text language. They're not using punctuation. They're just either using their voice to text or whatever without saying you could just say the word period, it'll put a period. But if you read like on that I Hate Dialysis page, there's so many like long run-ons of people just being like, went to the store yesterday and then they don't even say they're just like, ate blah blah blah. Like, it won't, you have to decipher in your mind, you have to read it out loud in your mind to decipher where the sentence ends.
I know this is difficult for you, because
it drives me insane.
You are just so like, that's your little OCD moment is grammar.
Yes, because I'll read it and then I'm like, whew, because I have to do this whole like, I don't know, it's...
You get so aggravated and worked up about it, though. It's hilarious, because like if something's in all caps, you'll scream it.
Because that's what I'm hearing it as. And so like I'm already right now talking about it and getting anxious, because I'm like, I'll read this whole huge long paragraph that would normally be 10 broken up sentences that's no punctuation. And I'm like, went to the store yesterday, and like that's how I have to read it. And I'm like, whew. And then I don't even know what I just read, and I got to go back up, because that's why when I email something or when I do the court reports for guardian ad litem, I try to make sure that what the reader is reading, that they're getting what I'm putting across.
Well, I think that brings up a good point, is that like, okay, so I'm a normal person and I'm not a grammar queen or whatever. I don't want to say the other one because I don't, anyway. So when I do stuff, I do think it is important to reread what you write
before
just
hitting
to
the
make
button.
sure. Now, I'm saying that with a grain of salt, because I will reread something and it will still be 100% wrong, and I'm like, yep, nope, that's right, send it.
I don't understand why people hit the post button without giving it a once over.
I give it a once over, but I don't realize I'm wrong. Yeah. And then someone like Samantha's like,
apostrophe R-E.
Did you not?
Because the your thing,
English?
like a lot of my friends are like, I don't care. I'm not gonna,
No, I want to care. I want to do better.
But the your thing drives me crazy.
Oh, it's awful, and I mess it up all the time.
But I don't know how. I don't know how people.
Because
but I could go on.
I get things backwards. So like, I'm fine with words, but one thing I mess up all the time is numbers and the sequence of numbers. Say you give me a phone number, I usually will get it backwards.
Yeah, I do that sometimes, because
I did that on a death certificate.
Oh God!
I messed up the social security number. The numbers were right.
Yeah, I'll remember the numbers.
They just were not in the right order, which was a headache, because I had to go to a different office and all that. Because I was like, I know these numbers.
Yeah, that's
but then crazy. I messed them up anyway.
Yeah.
But I do that all the time with numbers. That's why, like, when I get people's addresses, I'm like, make sure I need to go ahead and make sure it's correct, because I will go to if you send me to 165, I'm trying to go to 561 or something. You know, like.
Well, and I think my point is that people are just starting to not care, and maybe I need to get on board with that.
No, I don't think you need to get on board with that
because also you come into a lot of things that I see every day is where English is not their first language.
Yeah, no, that's always a pass. But when you grew up here and you speak American English or American, I mean, come on.
Oh, I just remembered what I skipped over. So there was actually someone in Slim's family who's on dialysis. He's this older man who's blind, and I really wish I would have gotten his name so I could have said it on here. I told him to listen to the podcast. But he's blind, so he said he didn't want to do dialysis at home, and I was trying to explain to him, like, if you have a care partner, because I don't know his situation. But everyone was talking in the room, and the whole time I'm just sitting there because they're all speaking Wolof. So I just kind of sit there and nod and smile, or if I know what they're talking about because they throw some English in or someone's name or whatever, I might interject a little bit. And they do a lot of English, you know, here and there. And then sometimes someone will come over, like someone came over who's his friend from Tanzania, and he speaks English, so then they spoke English. But this guy, once it got where everybody was kind of not talking anymore, I touched him on the arm because I was next to him, and I said, "Did you say you're on dialysis?" And he said, "Yep." And I was like, "Me too." I said, "I do home dialysis 4 times a week." And he said, "Oh, you're a nurse." And I was like, "No, I'm a patient." So because he's blind, I took his hand and put it on my axis, and he told me to feel his, and it was kind of like a moment. And then Slim kept asking me later, like,
how old is he?
I would say 60s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, but he's very, very spiritual, as Slim was saying, that he's really, you know, they say close to God. And you know, he's wise and everything. I guess he hasn't been able to see for 12 years.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's diabetes or not. We didn't get into all that. But it was just really cool because it was like, wow, you can really connect with people. And that's why I love being able to do this, because it has opened up doors, networking, and
and we also need business cards because, like, okay, so Samantha and I went and got our toenails done together. And this guy, we drove
Mom.
separately. Huh?
Sorry, Mom.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like... Well,
she's retired.
She's retired. What are we supposed to do? Not get our toenails done?
No, I did have her do them.
But anyway, so we were outside, and you were getting into your car, and I was just talking to you about exactly what we're doing right now. And this guy came up. What did he say?
Hey, I'm trying to get more change than Joe Biden.
What was originally? Because he was like,
he said, I'm not a weird black guy.
Yeah, and we were like, okay.
I was like, okay, weird black guy.
But he came up, and he was like, I just something about he needed some change for something, but which, you know, you don't have to preface it with that.
Yeah,
I think probably because, like, a lot of, like, people might be like, what is going on? Why is he coming towards me? What does he want? Right. But I don't, like, think that way. I think, oh, do you need something? Like, can I help you?
Right.
And so you gave him some change, and he was talking about, like, paying it forward. And then we talked about, like, I said, just listen to our podcast and like and subscribe. But we need, like, actual cards.
Yeah, I was talking to David about that. I said, let me know about the QR code.
We got to remember. Yeah, because I think if we hand that out, it might be a little bit easier. Because, and the kidney bean's a good name to remember, but I couldn't remember what I ate yesterday. So, like, for me, if you give me something that I can take away and look at later when I have time to process it, like, that might be a little bit easier. Because I'm awful. Like, when you said about I already forgot what it's called. You said it like 5 times today. The podcast with Tom Segura.
Oh, Your Mom's House. So, but I want to go back to mental health, though, because we're getting... I know. We're getting close here.
Yes, we are super close.
There is a person who I know who, she's a home dialysis patient. She's gone through a whole bunch of stuff. She's having a hard time mentally right now, and it just made me really think about how a lot of us are. And so, like I said earlier, if you have that insurance, like, you know, get on it. I know she struggles, and she, you know, takes medication, and then she's had some things where she couldn't get her medication and things like that were happening. So I know she knows what to do. I just hope that, like, because what you were saying earlier, sometimes you might not know how to tell someone that you're struggling, or you know, and she has been putting it on social media.
You could also not even realize that that's the problem. You might just think it's your circumstances.
Right. She's been putting it on social media, and I know a lot of people are probably like, you know, why do you, because I used to be like that. I used to be like, why are people who have anxiety and stuff putting it out there? If they really had it, they wouldn't be able to just like put it out there. But now I think it's just becoming more accepted. And so rather than us looking at it like it's a cry for attention, I think, you know, people don't know where else to go or don't know what
and
else to do.
we could be a little more sensitive. Like, we've become so hardened to people, like, and their struggles. We're like,
yeah, I could be, because I know now how it is to be a dialysis patient and struggle with it because of what I went through back in 2020. I, was depressed but didn't know it, and was having
because there's nothing that says you need this. Like, there's no inner dialogue that you're just thinking, why do I feel this way? Like, these are the symptoms, but it doesn't connect necessarily.
Or what can I do to help it? And it's not going to be a matter of like, oh, go out and get some sunshine and take a deep breath, which that stuff does help me. But some people, really struggle with this long term and, can't just snap out of it. Yeah.
And I am one of those people.
Right. And I feel like this person who I'm talking about, I just don't want to say her name, even though like she put it on social media, but, for privacy, I just really, I wish I could help her. Like, I really have wanted to reach out to her, but didn't want to sound cliche and stuff like that.
And that's another thing too, is that we've not normalized people help. Because if I said to you, I think you should go get some help, you would be offended in most cases.
And then some people don't say it the right way, where they might be like, ooh, you got issues, or you need to talk to somebody, or you need to see a therapist.
But we've so stigmatized those words, because you can have issues and it's okay.
Right.
But we can't say to people, you have issues, because that sounds awful.
Well, and different cultures are so different how they handle things. Like Slim, they're from Gambia, they're Muslim, and the way that they've taken care of him, and the way that I've stepped in and been able to take care of him by watching what they do, his mental health, like, is... they're checking on it, like, because his dad just passed away. So, like, they won't let him be alone. They, are constantly making sure he's okay, telling him go to sleep, take a nap, eat, do what,
things that will be good for his mental health.
Yes, and he is able to talk it out with everybody, talk about his father, talk about the different things that they're all going through, that they're all feeling, and they all, pray together, and they just take care of each other. And I just thought that was so amazing, because for us, it's like, if I'm having a day like that, I want to be by myself, to retreat to a bed or a bedroom and just be all by myself, when really that can be dangerous for some people. Because, again, another segue, and this is a very sad thing that I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up, but people from my high school know who I'm talking about. We had, I'll just say, a friend from high school, but more like an acquaintance later on, and more of a Facebook, we just communicated through Facebook, like just comments and posts. Mary, though, she had a 19-year-old daughter who took her own life, and then exactly a month later, Mary took her own life, and she left behind 4 boys and her mom and everybody, and it's really sad. The way that it happened was sad. And there's not always
warning signs either. So that's why it's like, it's important to check in on people and make sure, especially like in a situation like that, because I can't imagine losing a child. Like, I would be so devastated.
And that's what happened. And I think she wasn't very stable to begin with, with certain things. I mean, I know that she moved a lot and had different jobs and different relationships and things like that.
So when you say stable, she just didn't have stability in her life.
Mentally and physically, yeah. And so, she seemed to be a happy person, and especially, this is the one thing that I learned, somebody who actually in high school took their own life. I can't remember the exact person, but I remember hearing, they were so happy the couple of days leading up, because they figured out what their release was going to be, what they were going to do to relieve themselves from all this pain. And that might be why I think a couple of days before Mary did it, she posted all these pictures. She was so happy.
I think it's important to have people close enough to you to realize, why is this change in attitude?
Because that could be a warning sign. Something happy and positive could be a warning sign.
Like, even if it seems like, oh, well, she's done something, or she's done something because she's better, maybe like check in and, hey, what did you do? Why are you feeling better? Or
also, it's important to point out that sometimes these medications, the side effect is suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why you have to go every 3 months to make sure you're not having those.
Yeah, because one time I got prescribed Effexor XR when I first went on dialysis. I went to, I guess, a psychiatrist, and I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. And I told them that I was, like, having trouble concentrating in school. I was, and they're like, well, you just started dialysis. Now I'm looking back, and I'm like, oh, that was a whole lot to go through for 20-something. Yeah. And... so they prescribed me this Effexor XR. It was like a sample for a week, and I remember I was supposed to be getting ready for a party to go to with my friend Terry, and I was in bed staring at the wall, and I was just like, what is happening? I was like frozen. So I stopped. I was like, I can't do this. I can't, and I think maybe if I knew like there's other options, or, you're supposed to let it get in your system.
Well,
and
a
all
lot
that
of times,
stuff.
Like when you see the psychiatrist, they're like, email me if something's not feeling right, or we can do a sooner visitation. Especially when you get put on something new, like they'll probably want to check up sooner. But like maintenance is every 3 months. But like when they put you on something new, they're like, if you start feeling this way, let me know, or you start feeling that way. So anyway, but I feel like we are at the 1 hour mark.
I know,
so
you thought we wouldn't have enough to talk about, but I could go on.
I can talk all day. I talked all day yesterday and lost my voice this morning, and I was
Who'd
worried.
you talk to yesterday?
So I had a little mini party because the kids were not at the house.
For the invite. No, I'm just kidding. I was doing dialysis.
I did not have we did not even decide. We were watching Tom Segura, and I texted Brandy, and she was like, "Oh, come over," and I was like, "All right." And then they came over, and then our friend Diego from Big Boy Gaming came over because Sean wanted to get some cards and open up some packs because there's a new set out of Magic the Gathering cards. Yes, you can call me a nerd. Brandy does every time. She's like, it's so nerdy.
Yeah, speaking of Brandy, sorry I got my hair cut. It was on a whim. I needed it cut like right that minute.
We'll make an appointment next time. But,
right.
So
I went to Radiance Salon. That was pretty cool. Jennifer over there. I wanted to shout
out.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
But Diego from Big Boy Gaming came over yesterday, and he's like, every time I see him, he's like, I love your podcast.
Oh, cool.
And he's like,
hey,
it's so interesting. So, hey, Diego from Big Boy Gaming in Smithfield.
That's cool.
That's his business, and I guess he closed at 1, and he lives in Clayton, so he's like, yeah, I'll just ride him over there, because that's customer service right there. That's the kind of customer service you can get from Big Boy Gaming.
That's cool.
But anyway, he came over, and he stayed till like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Because we were talking about like different things. He was, and then he was asking about, for some reason, there were like 3 people that asked me about guardian ad litem.
Good.
Because
sign up.
Yeah, so like what's funny is Riley's mom had said, oh, you're a guardian ad litem. Like, I really want to do that when my kids get a little bit bigger because she works full time. She's like, I've wanted to do that since I was like 20 years old. She says, I've known about that. She's from South Carolina. I guess it's called GAL down there too. Because some places it's called CASA, and some places it's guardian ad litem. Yeah. So it's pretty much, it's very similar. Yeah. So child advocates. And she said she wants to do that. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, when you're ready. I was like, my supervisor, Danya Schmingy, is the best.
She is. And I want Danielle.
We both have hers.
Yeah. I want Danielle to sign up. She was, she's the best foster mom I've ever met. But no offense to my other foster moms, because there's a couple great ones.
I've been so happy with, you hear horror stories about foster parents.
Yeah.
But every and I don't think they're putting on a show, because I'm, after working with people for so long,
I've had a terrible one, and I've had really good ones.
Yeah. I've not had a terrible one.
I had one terrible
anyway, so I think we need to wrap it up, because we do not want to go much further over. And David's in his little office, probably like,
shut up, wrap it up, B.
He's in the control room, and he's probably saying it not in our ears, because he knows when he says stuff in our ears.
In my ears, you can just
I can do it.
Yeah.
But Samantha's like,
I'll go, oh my god,
deer in the headlights over there.
I know.
So anyway, of course, as always, follow us on all the social medias. If you can contribute to our Patreon, please do. I'm going to figure out a better system, because we should have rewards and stuff, but I'm 40 and don't know how any of that works.
We need to give them...
We'll figure it out. But
I know I talked to Kristen over at Craftiest Crit. We're supposed to be getting shirts made. I just know that she's a busy mom, and I've had a lot going on.
Oh my gosh, she's like super mom.
She's definitely super mom. If
I
ever have kids, I need her to help me.
But anyway, anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. Thanks everybody for tuning into this personal episode of ours about mental health
personal.
And little Anya. But yeah, I mean, just like Slim's family, they showed me, just take care of each other, take care of your mental health, and check in on each other. Always.
Yeah, make sure you text the person you hadn't talked to in a while and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, even just a text is good. Thanks,
all right,
everyone.
Well, thank you, and
share your spare.